Welcome back to another episode of Ask Jes. I'm Jess Marcy. I am a clutter coach, and every Tuesday at 1:15 Eastern Time, I go live and answer your questions that have been submitted or popped into a Facebook group or somehow asked during the week. So we have a bunch of questions to get through today, and I am very excited that you are here with me. If you're joining me live, make sure you say hello in the comments. Let me know what your name is, where you're joining me from. And if you're watching on replay, just give a hashtag replay so that I can come back and say hi to you later on. All right, this question came in through my email. It is a fantastic question. I have been dealing with my clutter for many, many years. I have found help, but I still struggle with it every day, mainly in my mind as to why I am this way and why can't I handle it. I keep thinking there has to be a reason I am this way. Everyone says it's not important to find the cause and it'll come to you in due cause. But I may never know why. I just feel like if I could find these answers, I would do so much better in resolving it. What is your opinion on this subject? What is your why? This question comes up so often. I want to know why I have clutter. I want to know why it is so hard for me to let go of stuff. I want to know why. This question is such a powerful question that it actually prevents us from moving forward decluttering. So I often say that the answer, your why, and there's more than one why always, but your why is found at the bottom of a pile. So the more you declutter, the more you're going to reveal your personal whys. You're going to understand more about why some things are a struggle for you, why you have clutter. But I have heard from many people that it's still really frustrating to be several years into this process and still not know their why. If only they knew their why. I want to encourage you to really journal about this. I have found that most people do know their why. They just haven't realized it yet or haven't acknowledged it yet. So for most of us, the why is fairly obvious, but for some reason it's not obvious to us. So start journaling about this and reread what you have written. I guarantee the answer is written down in there. If you don't like journaling, then just start talking, like voice memoing to yourself the questions that are coming up, your thoughts around clutter. I guarantee your why is in there. You have said it. You just haven't heard it yet. There's something that you could do. It's called the 5 whys or 6 whys, where you can keep asking yourself why. When you get an answer, just ask yourself why 5 or 6 times, and you're going to come to your answer. So we can try this right now. Why is it so hard for me to let go of stuff? Because, because I feel a lot of emotional attachment. Okay. Why do I feel a lot of emotional attachment? Because my stuff has a lot of meaning to me. Why does my stuff have a lot of meaning to me? Because when I was a child, somebody tossed out everything that I owned. Bingo. That's your why. So I would say your why, your why, you just haven't heard yourself acknowledge it yet. Like, it's there, it, trying to uncover it. And again, there's more than one why. Asking the right questions. Keep saying why until you get to your answer. A lot of times our whys are pretty painful. We have clutter as a result of trauma, or as a result of grief, or as a result of some negative experience. So acknowledging that experience has had such a lasting impact on our lives can be really painful. So make sure, so if you haven't figured out your why yet, it might be a protective thing that you're not ready to figure it out yet. And that's okay. But if you're searching and digging, and you do come across a why and it's not so pleasant, make sure that you have a plan in place. So maybe have an appointment with a therapist, maybe have a trusted friend or family member that you can confide in, maybe spend some time journaling on it. Give yourself a lot of love during this process, because the why is often kind of hard to hear, which is maybe why we don't hear it right off the bat. So that's my answer for the why. If you need support figuring out your why, or when you do figure out your why, please reach out. consider joining one of our programs, be in our communities, look for support there. It can be a little complicated, so proceed with a lot of love. And thank you for that great question. Okay, how to declutter electronic devices. It's a little more straightforward. Electronic devices should be tossed or decluttered in a way that is takes into consideration the materials in the electronics. This is kind of tricky. So I've watched a couple of documentaries on what actually happens to our electronics, even when they are safely decluttered and tossed. Sometimes they don't end up going to the best spots. If your town has an electronics recycling day, I would put it on your calendar and make sure to use it. Otherwise, do a Google search, electronics recycling centers near me. Electronics are something that you want to make sure you're recycling in the best way that you can find in your area. And I know that's different around the country for everyone. So do a little digging, and then when it is an electronics recycling day, bring as much as you possibly can then. How to declutter old cosmetics and lotions. I'm concerned about the environmental impact of flushing them down the drain. Yes, don't flush them down the drain. Old cosmetics and lotions can go right into the trash. There is no one that's going to use old lotions. If you donate them, they will be thrown out. And the good news is I don't know if this is good news, but when we throw things into the trash, our landfills are managed in a very responsible way these days in the United States. So landfills are lined, they capture toxins that are leaving. They have very good environmental management. So you don't want to toss things you don't want to empty lotions into the like toilet or something like that. You want to just throw the entire thing into the garbage. And if you are thinking about recycling a bottle that lotions came in, don't, because if the plastic is not really clean, it cannot be recycled. If it has labels attached to it, it cannot be recycled. Only 9% of plastic that was ever produced in this world has actually ever been recycled. Most of the plastic we're putting into our recycling bins is wish cycled, and then we're wish cycling it. We're wishing somebody else can recycle it. We're not sure, so we just put it in just in case. It ends up being pulled out and landfilled anyway. So save the trucks on the road. Just put it into your trash. It's garbage. And it's okay to throw out garbage, even though we have been told for so long it is not okay to throw out garbage. It makes you a bad person. It does not make you a bad person. You are not a bad person if you throw garbage into the garbage. But let's not pass that garbage along to somebody else to do that job. Thank you for that question. Okay, tips on decluttering a family room in a finished basement that has become a catch-all. If you have a room that is full of stuff that needs to be decluttered, you want to take consistent action every single day, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Don't put it off. Consistently work on that space. Start anywhere. It doesn't matter where you start. Just start and just commit to doing it every single day, and it will get done. It's overwhelming because of the scope of the project, but if we break it down into little tiny bits, it's much less overwhelming. The only way through it is through it. So just get started. I am still wrestling with donating and giveaway stuff that I think I could sell, but it's a hassle selling. I could make maybe $40 or $50, but there's a lot of work to list and answer replies. The value is over 100 retail that I spent. What do I do as it sits in a bag for a decision? If you have decided that something is going to be removed from your house, decluttered, donated, sold, trashed, give yourself a timeline, 24 hours, 48 hours. If you don't do anything with it in that amount of time, just take it to the donation center. I also want to really have you think about how much is your time worth. We have a should I sell it calculator on my website. We will pop a link in here. How much is your time worth? If 1 hour, say if you had a job, you were making $50 an hour. Your free time is worth at least 10 times that, right? Because that's your free time. So if your free time is worth $500 an hour, and the most that you're going to get here is $40 or $50 in the hour it's going to take you to photograph a list, communicate, deliver, meet up, whatever, this thing, is that worth your time? No, absolutely not. We need to be really realistic about how much our time is actually worth. And most of the time, there's very little that is worth spending our time to do. Because remember, money is a renewable resource. Time is a non-renewable resource. You can never get your time back. You can always make more money in the future. And you're not losing money by donating it. You're losing money by buying stuff that you're not going to use. So if you want to start saving money, focus more on reducing what's coming in, focus on spending more time not buying stuff, and don't worry about the stuff you've already bought. That money is spent, it is gone, and that's okay. This is a learning process, right? So just really, your time is worth more than anything else. How much is your time worth? A lot, a lot. Donate. Whatever you have bagged up right now that you're thinking of selling, just go bring it to a donation center. Okay, last question here. How do you store your holiday things when done? I keep my totes to a minimum, and if I get something new, something has to go because I refuse to get more totes. That's awesome. I fully endorse that. But I can't put totes into the attic anymore. Where do you put yours? So any collection that you have in your home that must stay in your home, so Christmas decorations, if they must stay in your house, they need to have storage space. If you have a collection that is pretty big, you need storage to match that. And if you don't have that storage, other collections need to shrink and disappear to make room for what must stay. We all only have a certain amount of storage in our homes. So what has to stay in your house has to fit into that storage, which means you need to make decisions. What is the most important thing or things or collections? If I have a collection that's too big and I don't have storage to match it, the collection needs to shrink. We're not increasing storage, we are shrinking collections because increasing storage just takes away from our livable space in our house, which is really important that we have livable, functionable space. So decrease your collections, do not increase your storage. And if it must stay in your house, it must have storage to match it. And that's how we get to the point of living comfortably within our space. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for submitting your questions. There were a couple I didn't get to. We will put them for next week. If you have more questions, you can email them to support@prioritizeyoursanity.com. If you want to kickstart your decluttering, spend a little time with us. This Friday from 11 to 3, we have a decluttering marathon, 4 hours, coaching throughout. There's 4 different coaches, one each hour. I think I'm the first coach, maybe this week. I'm pretty sure. Definitely make sure you get into that decluttering marathon. Set that time aside. Get stuff done, especially the holidays are starting to be right around the corner. So this is a good time to really, really think about decluttering your space and making room for guests and things that are going to be coming in over the holiday season. It's $20 for the 4 hours. I hope to see you there. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next week.